with another video. Manchester United have placed in an 85 million euro bid for Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig. The news broke out. I just woke up and then I saw it. Everywhere is just blowing up. We know Manchester United was never going to bid unless they had an assurance that the player wanted to join the club. That has been their stance this season. Being it came for the transfer window, they have only had the chance to bid for any player when they find out that the player really wants to join Man United. Cunha had a release clause that was out of the question, but Buemo, for example, wanted Man United. That's when they put in the bid. I know it took a while. So this is not like a year we go situation. This is not like a deal done, but it's just showing that Man United only will bid. Were only going to bid when Benjamin Sesko had given them a certain kind of like assurance that he was going to join Man United. Because then the question now is, how come this is the bid Manchester is putting? Because it's 5 million short to what Newcastle bid when they did the improvement of 90 million euros. So it's just insane how this is happening. But it's just sad for Newcastle because they have the financial capability to put this deal through, but they are getting rejected. At this point, they might have to start singing Craig David, like, I'm walking away from the troubles in my life, I'm walking away. Because they are getting rejected, like they should walk away. But at the end of the day, this is really sad for Newcastle fans because Isak wanted to go to Liverpool, but they can't sell Isak without having a prospect of who is going to replace Isak. Should they have him go to Liverpool, they need someone that they could have as front man, So they wanted Sesko. So the fact that they've opted their bid to 90 million, you can tell how like important they want this player. They really, really want this player. But Manchester United, for some reason, has had their play. Man United could not show their cards until today when they put that bid. Because I know there was earlier on last week there was I don't know if it was Ben Jacobs or from the Times where he said that there's a gentleman's agreement with Leipzig and Sesko that if he came to where there were two clubs who want the club that he chooses, the price will probably drop a little bit. So I think there's going to be a back and forth here, but I think Man United were only going to bid when Benjamin Sesko gave them a green light that he was going to join Man United, and that's been their stand. They were not going to bid because that was at one point I'm thinking, where is Man United getting this money from? Because because even yesterday when we found out Newcastle had opted their bid, I was like, okay, but how is Man United going to put this bid? Where are they getting the money from? Because at this point Leipzig will want this situation right now because it's two teams battling. So if Newcastle put a bid, Man United up the bid up, So it's like a bid contest where Leipzig is going to favor for me because they're going to get a good amount of money for Benjamin Sesko. But again, this is what the fact that Man United is having this. We need a midfielder by every blood in our veins. Like the club needs a solid midfielder because we can't go in the season with just Casemiro and Bruno. Bruno is not an 8. Bruno is not an 8. Bruno is a 10. So the transfer window, I'm just looking at it, it's a little bit confusing. But what the players we're trying to get in, I think is moving towards the right direction of what Amorim is trying to build at the club right now. We saw the preseason how it went down. It wasn't that bad of a preseason. I said there was a lot of improvement, but that middle of the park is where we are going to lose a lot of games. I don't think goals will be like a problem this season because if we get Sesko, for example, with Cunha and Buemo, because Cunha played out of position. Because what I don't want Man United to do is buy players and play them out of position because it will really be crazy. Cunha is a 10. We need people who can be creative, who can carry the ball. Buemo is the same. So the vision of Man United fans with this transfer window has been a prolific striker whom we thought was going to be like maybe Gyökeres, but that didn't fall through because we didn't get into the Champions League. We messed up the Europa League, for some reason. But the stance has always been like any Man United fan who was trying to look at what the season would be like, it would be like a prolific striker. In this case now, we will say Sesko, then Buemo and Cunha, then Ahmad and Dogu right wing back because Dalot doesn't offer anything offensively, But again, Man United has placed this bid. Like, this is insane. Like, I think this week, hopefully, we'll get situations where, because we need this striker to be at this club when we are playing Arsenal. It's just like less than 2 weeks. We are playing Arsenal, and we need that striker to be in, because this is why some other clubs really prosper, because they have their players in preseason that they all get the connection of how each other plays, the system, how it works out, and then they are ready to go by the start of the season. But at this point in time, Man United doesn't have a striker. We don't have a goalkeeper, because Onana hasn't even played preseason, but then he will just get in goal and play against Arsenal, which don't make sense, right? But Man United putting this bidding for Sesko, it means they have had some sort of green light, some sort of assurance from Sesko that he's going to join Manchester United. And I'm really happy about this deal. I'm really, really happy about this deal. And it's just going to be like really, really good if we get this deal through. Because and the thing is, Man United doesn't really go public and don't make the deal happen. So if this has to happen, they cannot mess this shit up. Man United cannot mess this deal up for any reason. Newcastle are really going through a tough time right now. Like, I don't know. But the thing is that when it comes to the Premier League, there's some levels to this game. Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea. Like, Chelsea is pulling players from every angle. They're selling, even their bank average players, they're selling them for good fees. But in as much as Man United is in Europe, it's not in Europe, sorry. In as much as Man United has been 15th as of last season, and they have had poor performances, like going down, deep down. The name just being Man United, it still weighs a lot. There's still that importance when it comes to football, because Man United is one of the biggest clubs in this world. Like, we can cut around the edges and do whatever we want to say, but Man United is one of the best, one of the biggest clubs in the world. Joe Rogan, all right. Modi Elmid, I don't know what you're talking about. I used to watch some Joe Rogan podcast, especially during the election. I watch Joe Rogan sometimes. He has some interesting podcasts. Well, guys, if you're new to the channel, please smash a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel when I'm way to 200 subscribers. But again, this bid for Man United, I think is very, very important at this time, because we are getting close to the Premier League start. We need this in. We need a midfielder in. For example, we have Douglas Luiz. He's a free agent. We can actually buy him. I think he will do a job, until maybe like they will have financial backing to get a really, really good midfielder, because Casemiro doesn't have the legs no more. Ugarte is not like steady. Meno, like Bruno is not an 8, But again, Man United just put this bid in. It's a really fantastic offer, because I'm just thinking about, like, is it that Newcastle at this point is Newcastle going to increase their bid again? Because Newcastle looks more of like desperate right now, because they need that, But the thing is, Isaac is not going anywhere right now. So what is like the transfer window this season is just weird. Like, football changed this season. I really feel sorry for Newcastle fans, because they have tried, they get rejected. At one point, I feel like they should just start singing Craig David, I'm walking away from the troubles in my life. I'm walking away. Ooh, yeah. Oh, find a better day. Like, they just have to. It's not like I'm taking a piece out of my Newcastle fans, but getting rejected when you have the money to buy these players is just absurd. It's just like weird, because Man United doesn't really have the money. Like, at this point, I'm thinking, where is that money coming from? I know Amorim has said there were other channels through which Man United can raise money to get transfers, but we don't know. We still are in debt. We are still owing money on some of these players that we're buying. And we haven't sold Garnacho. We haven't sold no player yet. But I think them putting this bid for Sesko shows that they were not bluffing, and that they could only bid when this player had given them a green light. Sesko up front, Buemo and Cunha in the back. They like the 210s. Let me know your thoughts about this transfer window. Like, let me know your thoughts about Man United's transfer window. This Sesko deal, where you think Man United is going to finish in this season? I think they will finish top 10, between 5 or 10. Because the league is just crazy. And you know how they say this thing where they said, there have always been this thing where they say, uh, 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 GTA, each time GTA comes up, Man United wins the league. So it's like, I guess GTA is coming out 2026. But the Premier League is just unpredictable at this time. The Premier League is really unpredictable. Like nobody could tell that Chelsea was going to win the FIFA Club World Cup. Nobody, yeah, with all the big names that were in that tournament, nobody could think about it. You know, Paris Saint-Germain was the best team in Europe last season. They didn't win it. Real Madrid is one of the top guns when it comes to like trophies and tournaments. They didn't know, they didn't smell it. Bayern Munich was the same. You have Al Hilal, you have Manchester City, but Chelsea from somewhere just made everything easy, and they went and won this shit, beat Paris Saint-Germain. It was like football this season is going to be like very, very interesting. The Premier League in particular. Liverpool have done insane business to even think that they won the Premier League and the transfer they have pulled through with the likes of Frimpong, with the likes of Kurz, and then you have people like who did Liverpool buy again? They have Verts, Kurz, Frimpong. Okay, they got Ekitike too. Chelsea is buying players. Arsenal has had like 6 players already. They got Noga, they got Gyökeres, they got Zubimendi, they got another defender. But I think Man United just needs one midfielder. Should they put the Sesko deal through? That would be really fantastic. Because I think the attack line this season will be good for Man United. We'll score a lot of goals. Because if Mbeumo can give us maybe 10 goals, Cunha can give us 10 goals, Sesko can give us say 15 goals. If Rasmus stays, if it's like 4 or 5 goals, and then other goals that could pop up from anywhere, I think we'll be up in the top half of the table. Because if you look at the goals from last season, we were down. We were just like 47 goals all season from all our players. That is madness. That's insane. That's really the worst Man United player season we've ever really had. But again, like with the way the team is playing, like how we saw in the preseason, we saw that we can score goals. We score goals. We score goals. And to have Sesko up front with the creativity we have in the back with Bruno and Ahmad and Dogo, that team, the problem is that midfield, that pivot, that 2 midfielder. Bruno is not an 8. Casemiro doesn't have the legs. Ugarte, I think he's just on and off. He's not like consistent. Menu also needs a little bit of consistency, to be in that particular position, to be like one of those midfielders. But Bruno, I don't think Bruno is not even like disciplined to play in that position, because he likes to be creative more, and he won't be able to do more of like a defensive work, But again, guys, Manchester United, if you're just tuning in, have submitted a bid for 85 million euros. So that was 75 million euros. Then they have 10 in add-ons. It's just 5 million short. So I think with what Man United is trying to do, I think they played their cards good. They had to hold on to make sure that the player actually wanted Man United before they submitted any bid whatsoever for this club or for RB Leipzig. Because even when Newcastle did the first bid, RB Leipzig wanted that fee, then they wanted like some add-ons, and then they wanted like a sell-on clause. So it was too much. I think that's why maybe Newcastle went and opted their bid. But again, they got rejected. Like Newcastle, I don't know what's going through the head of those fans from Newcastle, but Man United is just a little bit bigger than you. Not even like a little bit. Man United is big. Man United is big. Because even the Premier League, if you want to think of any club that has the pool as Man United, that you even think that we're pulling these players when we are not even like good, it's Liverpool. And then Liverpool is doing it easy because they are winning. They are a very, very well-run club, unlike Man United at the moment. So we just have to wait and see from this week. I don't know if there'll be any like here we go anytime like within the next 2 days, but things could move in a different direction, unlike we expect. Because this Premier League, this season we have seen so many things that just go like, and we are like what's going on in the football world right now? Like teams are buying, teams are strengthening, even Spurs are strengthening. Like I'm really interested to see what the Premier League offer us this season. Yeah, it starts in 2 weeks. It's not even 2 weeks. Next week on the 15th. The Premier League is going to kick off, and that first week is some good games. Man United has those big guns to play in the first 5 games. We have Manchester City, we have Chelsea too. We have Arsenal. No, not the first 5. I know we have Arsenal. And then we have Burnley and Fulham. And then we have Man City and Chelsea. I guess, yeah, I think so. So our first 8 games we'll play almost all the big guns. So we need Sesko in. Yeah, we need Man United to make this happen like ASAP. Like that Man United has to do this like yesterday. So I think those who are doing this deal, I guess is it Favel who actually like hinted that he wanted Sesko because he worked at with the Abbey Group. Was it Salzburg? So he has some connections to it. I know people were thinking about like Oli Watkins, but we need Watkins is getting to the end of his career, So I would say like Højlund to stay, just because I think he was thrown under the bus for some reason because Højlund was given the responsibility of a Man United starting striker when he was still very young, and he didn't have no creativity. For example, the last season, the average shot that he was getting was less than what every other player was getting, be it like the strikers in other teams. Højlund was getting very, very less. And we know with the likes of people like Garnacho, or Anthony, or Rashford, they will go scoring and shoot. So Højlund did not really get that service last season. But from his first season, we can tell he's a good striker. He can score when he has a chance. And this preseason, we have seen that he's really, really up for it. He's physically strong right now. He's fast again. His auto play is better. Yeah, he really worked. Even Amorim was impressed. Everybody was like Rasmus is really going good. Especially that game against Bournemouth. He was really good. I really wish he scored in that game, but against West Ham. Sorry. So I don't.